Hey there! Welcome to another Monday night live stream beyond the Edge of Exile. My name's Jason, and I'm your host for this evening. Well, one of your two hosts, because I'm once again being joined by the Chief Design Officer for Edge of Exile Entertainment. Let's bring him onto the screen. There he is, the one, the only. Unmute yourself. It's Jeff Pacito.
I am unmuted. I just want to let you finish your spiel and, swell my head a little bit here and talk a little bit about
All
it.
right,
So,
all right, cool. You're so professional. I thought you were on mute. That's good.
yep. How is everyone doing out there? I hope everyone had a great Monday, a great day back to work if you got back to work, or continuing work if you happen to have some of that shift work that some people have. Hopefully it's been a good day for everyone out there.
I'm doing good. I've been looking forward to this all day. I really enjoyed last week's first live stream of all of us coming together and talking and opening up open communication. It was good soup for the soul kind of idea. So I've been looking forward to this all week. And I'm really excited to have another chance to talk with the fans of Genesis out there and build that two-way repartee.
As well. Me as well. And we do have some questions, actually. People shot us a bunch of questions.
Okay.
So we've got some stuff we can go through there. I think you've got a surprise for us later on, Jason, maybe?
Oh, same surprise as last week. Yeah, we got a little bit of exciting artwork to reveal later on tonight. That'll be fun. Once again, it's, spoiler alert, really gorgeous art. I'm very excited.
It is, if we do say so ourselves, which we can say because we didn't make the artwork. So
yeah, we're praising other people's talents.
Yeah. Is there anything else we wanted to get into ahead of time, or do you want me to just jump right into the questions we got from some people?
Well, we can do it however you like. Just like last week, you could take them from the chat. We could address some of the questions we got ahead of time. Whatever you feel like.
Well, if anyone does have questions, make sure you drop them in the chat because that's what it's there for. That
Yep.
and any other, communication you guys want with us. But we can jump right into one question that we got. Was the first question we got after last week's stream was it came from Gloucester and Tim 10. Both wanted to know if we have any plans to officially support the Coliseum of Fate, which is the online browser-based version, if you want to call it that, of Genesis, where people could play against each other online.
Yeah.
And basically, we've spoken about this before, Jason, and we're open to conversations with the creator of Coliseum of Fate. So
Right.
Hopefully they reach out to us soon, or we'll reach out to them, or something along those lines. So I hope that answers your question. We're just waiting to talk to people, sort of thing.
While we're keeping busy doing other things, so yeah.
Oh yeah, no, just in Coliseum of Fate.
We're swamped with work, right?
Just for Coliseum of Fate, we're waiting to talk to people. Other stuff we are going crazy with. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Is that a Kiss guitar over Jeff's right shoulder? Oh yes, I have a matching set of Iceman guitars, a guitar and a bass guitar, both in I think they're Tobacco Burst, not Sunburst. Somehow I lucked out and got a matching set of them. One day maybe I'll pull them up on camera for you to see Shockwave. Not that I play them or get a chance to, but just it's fun to have that. Or are you talking about this shoulder? My wait, I'm pointing the right way? No, this way. You're talking about the Black BC Rich guitars, maybe? I'll wait till you clarify that. We can move on to another Genesis question if you guys want, instead of talking about my background. Gloucester wanted to know, will we update card layouts for people with poor eyesight or color blindness? I don't mind jumping into this one if you want, Jason, or would you like to talk about it?
No, go ahead, Jeff.
So basically, we're reviewing the current templating, and we do want to keep an open mind about things like that, while we also still consider the limitations of publishing, printing, trading cards, and things like that. We have a pretty good idea of what we can and can't do, and we're just going to hopefully make Genesis as accessible as it can be. That's always kind of been our goal with things, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Shockwave was talking about this guitar, the black guitars. I have a small collection of BC Rich guitars. That one that you're looking at, I believe that's one I can't say online because it sounds like a bad word, even though it's not spelt that way. So I will not say that one. But there's a few in that set. I have 5 of them, I think. So I'll send you a message about them after.
Nice.
Jason, I got a question that you probably should answer because it kind of comes off of what we spoke about last week. if you'd like to talk
Sure.
about the judge program. Basically, Gloucester would also like to know, is the judge program something that's curated and organized by EOE, meaning Edge of Exile, or is it going to be fan run going forward? What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, that's a great question. And the answer is if you want to be really successful and if you want to be able to host huge, amazing events that run flawlessly, as the creators of the game, as the manufacturers, we need to take the reins and make sure that organized play benefits from having very skilled, personable, knowledgeable judges out there who have been properly vetted, they've been properly trained on all the rules, and they've proven that they have the right knowledge so that wherever you go, be it at a local game store or down the line, an official large scale huge event being put on by Edge of Exile itself. Either way, we want to make sure that we have all of the judges who are representing our game and providing a good customer experience for our players have been vetted and approved by us. So we will definitely be taking the lead. That's something where our company definitely benefits from the fact that I was a level 2 Magic judge for about 6 years. I've been through the process of becoming certified in other games. I'm also a Pokemon professor for organized play for Pokemon. So I have a lot of direct insight from all the major events I've worked in, all the training I received from very knowledgeable rules judges in other games. And we will have a very successful judge program in the future. I feel strongly about that. But it will definitely be something that we shape and take care of so that it will always meet the expectations of the players.
I should note that you guys don't have to do this, or no one out there probably has to, but I am required to call Jason doctor because of his professorship when we're off camera. He's told me that many, many times, and I usually forget to. But
Doc, Doc is what you've been saying? I thought you were calling me another name all those times. Oh, okay. Doc is good. I'll take Doc.
Okay, we'll go with that then. That's what I was saying.
That's good.
That's what I was saying. We'll take that approach. Let's do one more question here, and then let me see how many more we have here. I think we'll do 2 more questions, and then maybe we'll do a little surprise. Feels like we're moving a little quick, but the questions are somewhat I don't want to say easier to answer. They're very so far we've had pretty straightforward questions, things that we have solid answers that we can get to people. So it does make that a little bit easier going on our end to get these questions out quickly. So it does feel a little fast. I hope that's okay with everyone out there. If we are moving too fast, please let me know and we'll slow down a little bit.
Well, it also helps that a lot of these questions were submitted earlier, so we had time to prepare answers and give them, right? It's really nice when people express their questions ahead of time so that we can have a prepared answer ready to go, and it just speeds everything up.
Thinking on my feet is very hard when I'm sitting on my butt, so it's good to give us the stuff ahead of time.
Okay.
Another question from Gloucester is, are there going to be consultants to make sure the non-Western and queer stories within Genesis are going to be representative and not just appropriated? I don't mind jumping into that one, Jason, if you're cool with that.
Feel free.
So inclusiveness and proper representation is very important to all of us when we guide this company, be it the game itself, the game's lore, anything basically moving into the future of it. We're going to make efforts to consult with the appropriate parties and individuals when necessary for key characters, plot points, storylines, and all that sort of stuff as we move forward to make sure that we are as representative as possible. I hope that answered. If anyone is in the chat and we're not answering the questions the way you expected them, please reiterate your question so that we can clarify. But I think they're pretty straightforward, and that's why we've been able to answer them this way. Jason, it's almost like I prepared this to bounce back and forth questions between you and me.
Weird.
Because the next one is another question for you.
Yeah. Okay. What are we talking about?
We're talking about the United States.
One of my favorite places. Great theme parks.
Right? Great theme park. Actually, yeah, I do have to admit, much, much better theme parks than the one we have here.
Yeah.
Do we have plans to grow the U.S. player base, or are we focused on Canada only?
Oh, I have a prepared answer, and I'll say it in just a second. But I just got to tell you, I'm so excited for the future. We're going to grow this game so much. And it would be insane if we wanted to shrink down to only Canada. We've already had some a lot of success before we even came along with the old management. That Genesis was growing in leaps and bounds all across the United States, West Coast, down in the Florida area, up on the East Coast. It was doing great. There was players in Germany, there's players in the UK. Great international markets already love the game. And of course, all we're going to do is everything that we can to help that community continue to grow. We are very excited for when we get to the point, hopefully not too far down the line, where Genesis will be available in more and more stores all across North America and Europe. How's that?
I think that's good, and that did not sound like a prepared answer. That sounded like you just spoke off the cuff, which was great.
That's his subtle way of telling me, read the script, Jason. That's exactly what that was. For you out there in TV land, you didn't pick that up, but he is throwing daggers at me right now. See, you know it's true. Look at him. Look how guilty he looks. He's like, I was totally throwing mental daggers at you. It's true.
Oh, you weren't supposed to call me out on it. I've got a quick question here in the chat from Airboy, who is a judge, actually, if I'm not mistaken, asking about the Plus champions. Actually, they were not official before Haunted Castle Gaming shut their operations down. They were just battered about, if I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Jason, just in Future League. They were being spoken about and suggested. So none of those were actually official, like active and usable in competitions. And I believe we answered it last week about the Plus champions that were very eager on growing and seeing champions and characters move forward and grow in the game and in the system. So we're not averse to things changing over time and growing over time and developing, right?
But don't expect to see champions with a plus symbol in their name. Like we'll probably take a different tact and have them with slightly different names, similar to how other games have done, because it's a depiction of that same character at a different point in their life, which I think is better, actually.
Yeah, you see actual character development. I mean, you don't get the what did we call it last time? The Simpsonification of things, where they're perpetually in grade 5, right? They do actually grow and develop and move on, and then new champions come into play for good reason. Not all taking place within a day, sort of thing.
Yeah.
We have about 5 or 6 questions left. Do you want to go through a couple more questions, or do you want to tease everyone with a little possibly canned prepared video, Jason?
We can totally do the canned prepared video if you'd like to get over to the artwork. You just say the word, and I've got my tech here, my lovely tech sitting beside me, just ready to hit the button for you.
I would say let's do it, because I'm really excited to see the artwork and see what you've done with it, because you always add a little flair to it. So let's have a look.
Okay, Jeff's ready. Let's hit the video. Well, Jeff, what do you think?
I am absolutely blown away. I said it before, I know, but just to see the growth of some of the artists that have been there before, like Philip, and then new artists like Dahlia and their work, it's just incredible and really elevates everything to another level. Like those are cards in the game, and they could be champion cards just because of the detail and how nice they look. I think, at least, I think they've taken that extra care, that extra attention to detail to get the best they can out of each card. And they tell a small story within them too, right? Like especially the opportunity one there, you can see you see what's going on. It's not static. There's action,
Right.
there's movement, there's stuff going on in the card itself, which I think really works very, very well in this situation. I'm
Well,
really excited about it.
on a personal level, hey, Magic Historian in the chat. Welcome, my good friend. It's nice to see you here. If you're still considering burning all your Magic cards and switching to a new game, you've come to the right place, my friend. We could always use well, not a Magic Professor. What could we use, Jeff? Maybe like a Genesis Genie or something like that? I think that would be really cool. Someone who makes all their gaming wishes come true. A Genesis Genie. I think that's good.
Whatever it is, do not take advice from the Magic Historian on what to call it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. Fair enough.
I love you,
Nevertheless,
man, but I don't want you to come up with a name for it because I know the way your brain works.
nevertheless, welcome to the stream tonight. We're really happy to have you here, along with Marcus and Airboy Zeal and everybody else who's been in the chat. David, all of you. It's great to have so many people watching live tonight. It's really fun. We just revealed some new artwork that's going to be coming out in the next set. And what I was going to say about the artwork after Jeff had made his point was, I remember when I first got into Genesis back in beta, I loved the game, I was hooked on it. But to be honest, some of the art back then left a little bit of room to be desired. And I always overlooked that. I purposely put blinders on to ignore any artworks that I didn't love because I love the game so much. And I'm so excited that now I feel like all the artworks that are going to be in this next set are so good that I think it's a point where people are going to see the artworks printed on the cards, and the artwork alone is going to draw people into the game now, where they're going to want to start playing it because they're going to see these cool characters and artworks that, like, they've really stepped it up a level. And I'm so excited because I just feel like that's one of those key things that the game needed to go to that next level. And I think we're going to be on our way to going to that next level. So I'm very thrilled with that.
It's going to be firing on all cylinders going forward. You like you said before, you had to, not you had to, but you were sold on the gameplay, or you were sold that it was a collectible game. And now you can be sold on any of the three main components of a TCG, which is the game itself, the collectability of it, or the artwork.
Yeah.
You've got all three cylinders firing there. Imagine it's a three-cylinder car. That analogy doesn't work if not. So it's a three-cylinder car with all three cylinders firing very, very well.
Jeff, are you going to acknowledge the fact that a certain Magic historian has claimed that you may be broadcasting from a broken-into guitar shop?
I would have appreciated if you did not mention that, Jason. I was choosing to ignore it. I've actually put whiteout on my screen where he wrote that so that it wouldn't show up, so I wouldn't have to read it 2 or 3 times. I was hoping it wouldn't get out there into the public, but apparently it has at this point.
Well, I'm just saying, if I were you, I'd grab a couple of the BC Riches when you hear the sirens coming, because those guitars look sick.
Those are some of the only real guitars. I don't have a lot of, I call them real guitars. Most of them are Squires, things like that. They're not official. Yeah, they're not the top tier quality of guitars. Put it that way. Joey's in the chat. He's given some great suggestions there that on character development and whatnot. So
yep, that's great.
And a few other people there. So we like hearing all this stuff. We like the information and the feedback. It's great. Thank you very much for sharing with us.
For sure. Yeah.
It's very, very helpful for us to hear. Yep. Brad brings up that cohesiveness and recognizability in the art is a great thing. To look at a card and go, that's Genesis is great.
Yeah.
And that's true. And not only that, Brad, but to say that's Genesis in a very positive light. Because at times you've heard people say, oh, that's Genesis, when it came to some of the earlier artwork of learning, we'll call it, learning steps.
Sure, yeah.
And they're just the way those artists have grown with the game. And they've grown on their own while the game is growing, and it's great to see that happen. And you can look at most of these artworks and say, that feels like Genesis. It doesn't feel like one of the other games that's out there right now. I believe so, at least, and apparently Brad does as well. I'm sure others do as well.
Mm-hmm.
David asked something about Geo.
Like a Geo.
Like a Geo.
Looks awesome. Like a Geo? I don't know. I'm sure we said something at a certain moment where that comment made perfect sense, and I've just forgotten it.
Yep, completely. That happens often. I like the sound of my own voice enough, and I think only second to how much Jason likes his own voice.
It's 3 cylinders. Like there you go. Yeah. That's funny.
Are they? Wait, like a Geo Metro? Those aren't 3 cylinders, are they? I thought only 3-cylinder cars were in Europe.
No, I think there's. I'm pretty sure the smallest Mitsubishi is also a 3-cylinder car.
I thought Mitsubishi went out of business, maybe just in Canada. Would you guys consider updating the starter?
What did you say?
about
You take that back, you blasphemer.
what?
Mitsubishis are beautiful cars, and they're doing just fine. And I love that brand. I drive a
Oh, sorry,
Mitsubishi every day. Curse you.
Suzuki. Suzuki went out of business. Suzuki made
Yes.
cars for a while.
Oh,
They went
okay.
out of business.
I forgive you.
Mitsubishi took over. This is some of the random knowledge that fills my head. Mitsubishi took over the service of Suzuki's while the cars still existed
Ah,
because they
there.
stopped ceased production in North America, or at least in Canada, and
Yeah.
Mitsubishi took that over. Sorry, that's how Mitsubishi got in my head about being canceled. No,
Yeah.
Mitsubishis are beautiful cars, and they had a convertible that I loved. I can't remember the model. The Eclipse, maybe. I
Yeah.
always thought that
The
was one of
Eclipse
the
Spider.
modern
Gorgeous. Yeah.
one of the nicest modern convertibles. And I'm not a car guy, and I thought that was really, really cool. I liked that a lot.
So do we got
Marcus
some
wants to,
more questions to tackle? Oh, was something
we,
from the chat?
we do. I'm
Or
going to grab one from the chat. Marcus wants to know if we would consider upgrading the starter kit or perhaps introducing pre-con decks. You want to answer that, Jason?
yeah, for me, the quick and simple answer is updating the starter kit is one of the first things besides releasing a set that I really want to tackle. I can't wait for us to look into making a new updated starter kit with new decks. That's one of my passions is entry level products to introduce new players to the game. And like, there's so many cool cards that have come out, and there's just the game's evolved since last time a two-player starter set was made. I can't wait to do another. I'm very excited for that. And pre-con decks, Jeff, what's your opinion on them?
Well, I was going to say I related a lot to the two-player starter. I've always liked the idea of a quick and easy way to get into something, similar to how Magic had those early sets. I don't remember what they called them, but you would get like it was basically a starter set. You would buy 2 starter packs. This is going back about 4 or 5 years now to get into the game, and I love that sort of thing. I love the idea of being able to, even though it's a collectible card game, you want people to buy booster boxes so that they can develop and grow their own decks. I love the idea of saying, here's something, try it, start
Yeah,
playing right out the gate. Because if not, most people are just going to go buy a booster box and then look online to build a deck anyways. They're just learning. They need something to get started with.
yeah,
I love that idea. Now, whether it's a 2-player set or it's a handful of pre-con decks, that's something that I think I'm very passionate about as well. An easy tool to get someone interested in playing the game.
yeah.
Which is a lot longer answer. My answer was just going to be yes when Marcus asked that. So I'm glad you took that, Jason, because it's a lot longer answer than I would have given.
Oh, I'm excited about that. Starter products, introductory products to get new players playing the game are some of my favorite things. It's actually some of my favorite things as a game store owner. I love it when people come in and they ask about, well, especially Genesis now, because it's a little easier than Pokemon. Because with Genesis, when people come in, I can be like, here's some ready-built decks that are around the $20 mark, or the not $20 mark, the two-player starters, I should say, for Genesis, is everything two players need for around $20 versus a Pokemon deck starts at $20 and that's only for one. I've always liked the fact that with the two-player starters, it's everything you need to go home and like for a kid to play with his mom or dad or whatever. Or I like that a lot better than just selling one ready to play deck for someone who's brand new and doesn't know anything, because it's good to give them enough to go home and play at home. I think that's the key thing that you need to do is you need to show them how fun it is, have them have a good time at your store, and then send them home with enough that they can keep playing and having fun. And that's what I love about those.
And well balanced too.
Yeah.
I've
Oh
heard
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
some talk of the last 2-player set wasn't as balanced as it could have been.
Yeah.
I love the idea is to have 2 equally skilled players should be able to be competitive against each other with that. Doesn't matter which deck you pick out of a 2-player starter, you should be just as equally. It's the luck of the draw, and learning how to play shouldn't be a factor really. No, that made Marcus happy. Okay, we made Marcus happy. We're done, Jason. We don't have to keep going. We can. Marcus is happy. We can call it a night.
Well, we might want to answer Airboy Zeal's question, although I think his numbers are a little off. Because he asks,
Yeah.
do you want to stick with 50 card decks or complete 60 card? Are we talking Pokemon again? Because if it's Pokemon, 60 cards would be complete. But for Genesis, I
The
mean,
starter decks were 40 cards, I
yeah,
believe, for Genesis, right?
or yeah,
Or 30? I
no,
honestly
they're
don't
40.
know.
Yeah, I
They
think
were
they're
40?
40.
Okay. Um, I don't know if we have a solid answer for that yet, Jason, because either way, whether it's 40 or 50 cards, it has to be balanced. That's all. It has to
Yeah.
be a balanced set of 2 decks that they can play against each other. I guess personal opinion, we have our own opinions on it, but I think it depends what fits better into that kind of an environment.
Well, that's actually something that'd be good to get feedback from stores, to be honest, too, because It's an interesting thing when people come in and I want to teach them how to play for free. I give them a 40 card free demo deck that like I've got from the manufacturer before. But then like if they come in and they want to buy something, I'm selling them two 50 card decks. I don't know. I always had a little bit of mixed feelings about the 40 card decks, to be honest with you, because yeah, you could play with them that one night, but it's not the same as a full deck, you know. So I don't know. My gut tells me that it might be better in the long term to eat that little bit of an extra cost and turn them into 50 card decks right out of the hoop for starters. But I'm very much open to hearing what stores and players feel helps the best when they bring in friends to learn how to play the game. Feedback is always welcome.
I'm of the same opinion as you. I think it needs to be a deck that you can bring to a regular Genesis battle.
Yeah.
However, I do understand that there is considerations with storage space, um, uh, replayability. There's both sides. There's two sides to this discussion, and I think it really needs to be a lot of feedback coming back from stores and players for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to. I'd love to hear what most people feel like, or what they've seen at their local game stores when somebody played with a 40 card. Was it a problem, or was it like enough that it got them hooked anyways?
And Joey, of course, has the right answer, which is the business answer of I'm assuming this is what he's getting at. You do the 40 card deck, that way they have to buy booster packs to complete the card
That's
set to
yeah,
play.
yeah. I can
Which
see
is the
how that's
business.
a good model for local game stores. That's fair.
Yeah, yeah. If I'm reading him right, maybe I've misunderstood what he said, but I think that's what he's getting at there, which makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, yeah. Then you give them
Um,
something for free, but if they want to come back and play again, they need to at least buy
yep,
one
yep.
pack or a couple singles or something. That's fair.
And it is still fair on the side of the player because the player is getting most of a deck there to play with, right?
Yeah.
And depending how you position it and how you set up those decks, it could be a deck that they choose, it could be a randomized deck, right? Like depending how that works out as we get through our planning of it.
I don't know
Um,
if it'll happen, but I'd love to see us someday, if it's possible, have like 5 different demo decks instead of 2, one for each of the affiliations. I used to
yep.
like that about another game you've probably heard of, where you could come in and get a starter deck for any one of their 5 colors, and you'd like be like, if you're this kind of person, this is the deck I'd suggest you start with, based on personalities and playstyle preferences. It'd be nice if we could do something similar for all 5 affiliations, because as we go on, I think all 5 affiliations are going to become more distinct and unique and clearly defined, and I think that's going to be really fun. Because sometimes in the past, some cards have felt like it could go in any affiliation. I think as we continue to build the affiliations into more unique, distinct identities, it might be really fun to have 5 different starters, one for each. Something to think about.
And there's a question for you, Jason, which I think you're maybe alluding to, and we haven't. I'm going to put you on the spot here. If you don't want to answer, you don't have to.
Sure.
How do you feel about single color affiliations in starter decks then? If we're talking starter decks, 2 player sets, is it an easier access point for players, or do we stick to the 2 color champions as the way to go? And if you
Well,
don't have an answer for that, that's fine because we haven't even discussed this before. So I'm putting you on the spot here.
oh, maybe I'm misremembering because I thought you and I had talked about this one time. Uh, was that off the record? Am I not supposed to say what we talked about before? Because I thought it was a great idea.
Well, about the single color champion, like single color starter sets,
We had talked
or
about
whatever.
possibly having champions that start off as like trainees or whatever, and they're a single
Yeah.
color affiliation, a little bit lower power, and then once they evolve in the timeline, and once they like become full fledged champions, then they're a two
Mm-hmm.
color affiliation. And then I had always thought a really cool thing near the end of their lives might be to have them go back to being a single color champion, but like with some really overpowered abilities that
Mm-hmm.
but you the drawback is you only have one color to play in the deck or one affiliation to play, so it keeps it balanced. So yeah, I'm very much open to the ideas of single color champions because I think in the right circumstances, being a new character or a seasoned veteran character, there's probably ways that you can explore new gameplay options by limiting to one affiliation, but with like cool abilities that normal traditional champions don't have. Just
We
something to
did
think
have
about.
this conversation. No, we did, and you're right. I just want to make sure we were still on the same page. So,
Ah,
yeah,
I see you threw me under the bus. You had to see if I remembered it.
I was trying
Okay.
to build up drama and stuff like
Yeah.
that. That's how you do these things. You need something, right? Not
Yeah.
controversy, just drama. Actually, Marcus, you're kind of joking there about the Oni trainer, but Oni's name did come up
Yeah, that was part
That's
of the
something that,
conversation.
yeah, we might not talk further about that quite right yet, but
No, yeah.
yeah, the idea was, like Jason said, it was single colors, easy access, easy entry point for people to get in, just like you would have monocolored decks in other card games.
Yeah.
The only trick would be, and I think people would support me here, is when you get to that super champion that's back to one color and overpowered, you can never do it with Bellum. Ever. Ever. Bellum is out. Not an option. It's all
Bellum's
the other
too good,
colors,
is it?
but not Bellum. Yeah,
That's
and
funny.
I don't think anyone would argue with me on that front. Joey
That's
has a
cool.
comment here. Let me see. What else on the deck is part of the rules? Competitive viable. I'm sure everyone loves sitting here while we're in silence reading comments. Yeah, yeah. I think the single color thing is. I mean, it wouldn't be obviously championship viable. Or I shouldn't say that. It's probably not going to be championship viable, but it is a great entry level and a way to get into it because a lot of people here have played card games before. Maybe they have these ideas already. They know what they're going through. But if you think back to when you first started, unless you are brilliant with it, you probably started with single color, learning something right out the gate, and then worked your way up to
Yeah.
more complex things. It's just how it is. It's just how it is because you learn easier as baby steps, right? You learn to crawl, then walk, then run,
Mm-hmm.
literally, as you do when you're a baby. Do we want to jump back to the questions that we got earlier?
Yeah, let's get all the questions answered, and I mean, we don't have to make it a 2 hour live stream. We can just answer questions and chat with
Yeah.
people, and if that's it, then that's it. You know, we're here to help with whatever people want to talk about.
So there's another question here from Andrew, and it was, do we have plans for a support system for players, advocates, ambassadors, whatever you want to call them, to help bring Genesis Battle of Champions to their local stores? So it's playing off of his previous question about U.S. expansion. He
Sure.
wants to know what our plans are to get Genesis into stores that don't currently carry it or don't have, they're not local to another store carrying it, that they're just
Right.
carrying it for competition.
And
What are your
perhaps
thoughts on
what
that?
and perhaps what we can do to incentivize people to try and
Sure.
get that into their game stores. So I mean, I think all three of us, Jeff, Janice, and myself, we're all card game players for a long time, and we've all seen a variety of methods that and systems that have been used for other games to try and promote growth and expanding the community and maybe even getting into new stores. And some of it's worked really well, and some of it misses the mark a little bit. But what I think that's going to happen is we're definitely going to implement some kind of system moving forward. But that's probably something that we're going to put a little bit of time into designing a little later on because we're still right now, we're in the process of approving cards for printing. We're in the process of like setting up contracts for shipping and things like that. We're still doing a lot of the nuts and bolts right now of setting up and preparing for our first set to release. So it's a little early right now to tackle that as well. Our resources right now are just being dedicated a little more to the nuts and bolts of getting everything up and running and getting the next set on its way to people eventually. But that's definitely something that I want to look at in the future is some sort of incentive or reward for people bringing in new people, bringing in friends, growing the community. If you're doing awesome stuff and helping the community grow, I think that we as a game company are going to want to, reward people for that because that's invaluable. It's amazing when someone loves your game enough that they recommend it to a friend or they beg their game store to bring it in and demo it or whatnot. So I would definitely love to see some sort of rewards in the future, but just right now, that's going to be on the back burner until we tackle some more immediate things that we want to get accomplished first. Does that sound fair to you, Jeff?
Definitely. I mean, it's good to know that we are not blind to it. We know this is something we want to do, somewhere we want to go,
Yeah.
but we have other things we have to get to first. You can't get an incentive program out there without product ready to move first. So let's, again, back to the crawl, walk, run sort of thing,
Yeah.
right?
I think that's
we're at the
something.
walking stage.
Yeah, I think that's something we'll be able to tackle also around the same time as when organized play officially resumes. And I don't know exactly how organized play will work with us. In the past, with the previous owners, as you know, there was like the organized play packs at all the stores that were hosting official events would get. I don't know exactly what the rewards and incentives will be for organized play in the future. Might be the same, might be different. if we can think of something even better or cooler to do. But I think that'll be the time when official events are starting in stores and people are starting to work towards qualifying for a world championship or something like that. That'd make sense, as that'll also be the time where we'll roll out rewards to people to help this thing that now exists to grow even faster. I just think
I agree.
that's when it would make sense, right? So
100%. That makes the most sense. It's one of those things where you're going to hit these little milestones where now a whole bunch of stuff will be developed and planned because it just fits in right at that
yeah,
time.
you level up to the next milestone, and now
Yep.
there's new things you work on. So.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like a branching tree from those video games now, right? That's how you do
Exactly.
your developments, right?
Yeah.
From a Bethesda game sort of thing.
Yeah.
Uh, there's another question here that I can tackle quickly because it's a relatively quick answer. If
Sure.
you haven't noticed yet, I tend to take the shorter, quicker answers and give Jason the harder answers, just because I know he's got more access to drinks and all that to wet his palate so that he can talk longer than I can. Will we be returning to Kickstarter? Product is unavailable in some areas, and there's a question of distribution. So they're looking at, this was from Andrew, similar to your question, to the question that Jason just answered about an advocate program type thing, looking at ways to get games into other areas, and he thought Kickstarter was the way. Right now, we don't have any intentions to utilize Kickstarter for another release. Genesis Battle of Champions is going to be available through traditional distribution channels on a go forward basis at this point. This way, local stores can get the product direct to their customers from the distribution that they normally get other products from.
Right.
And I think that's a very succinct answer. There's not much more to it than that, unless you have something to add, Jason, but I don't know.
No, going through traditional channels like that is the right way to go anyways, because that is really the only way to hit that global market that you want to grow into eventually. You have to go through traditional channels. You don't want to waste time putting effort into one and done things. We'll just keep growing our networks, growing our demand through traditional markets. And then sooner or later, it's going to oh, it's available in another country. Oh, it's available here and there. And oh, now it's in all 50 states. These milestones will happen as we keep going.
Yeah. I think Cardboard Cohorts has joined us, but he's probably a little delayed because he's talking about the starter deck upgrades.
Okay.
Which is great, though, because that's a lot of people, I guess, have been asking for this sort of thing. And I guess people are excited to hear that we're on that same page there.
Yeah.
Again, part of our milestone thing as we go forward, getting Invasion out and moving on beyond that, to getting these sorts of things ready for new players to get involved. New players, new stores, new channels, all that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
The next question we have is a little bit more of a personal one, Jason. So I think you might want to tackle this.
Okay.
And it's asking if there's any background or any information, just like they asked us last week, about Janice, what experience she has and what does she bring to the table. And I think you should answer it because I probably should not answer that.
Well, I don't think I should answer it either. I happen to have Janice right here beside me. I'll just tilt this camera.
Here, I'll just do this.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. Hi, Janice.
Hi, Jason.
So you're going to have to talk a little louder than me so my mic picks it up.
Okay.
But the question is basically any background about you or your experience that you're bringing to the table, anything you want to share to the people out there who are very curious to know about.
I just want to make sure they can hear her. Can you guys hear Janice when she spoke? Just to make sure.
Well, yeah, let's do a test. Just say something quick so we can find out if they can hear.
Hi, my name is Janice. Does that work?
Did you guys hear it?
Can you hear me?
Yes, Brad says yes. We got one okay, so go ahead, Janice.
Sure.
So my name is Janice. I am his better half. I've been playing games and card games, collector card games, for the better part of 11 years now with Jason. He introduced me to collector card games.
I was a good influence. That's what she said.
Before that, I was involved in just regular board games and love puzzles and logical thought and strategical thinking. I come from a business background, so currently working in insurance and sales, which I've been doing for the better part of 12, 13 years now. And so I have over 20 years of working in business and 6 years running our store.
Yes, because she helps a lot with the operations of North of Exile Games. So she's got experience in the game store industry.
And sales and business in general. high ethical standards insurance company, or as a insurance broker, we're held to a very high ethical standard. So I think, and that's something that's very important to both Jason and I and Jeff. But we'll be choosing to do the right thing, not necessarily the easiest thing.
Yeah, for the long-term growth of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what we believe in, that people should be doing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be a lot of behind the scenes on the business end of things. I enjoy the game. I am getting a little bit better at it. Still learning.
She's getting better than me, guys. She's getting better
but
than
I really
me.
do enjoy it, and our 13-year-old son loves it, so that's great. To be able to play stuff with family, that's kind of our jam. So yeah, that's me. Any other questions?
I've got one actually that feeds off of what Janice just spoke about.
I can't hear.
Jeff has one, so I'm going to relay it.
Yep.
Just going to say it out loud, and I'll say it to you.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm speaking out of turn. I don't believe so, but
Jeff, that's just so inappropriate. I can't say that to her. I can't believe you said that on camera.
Oh, sorry. Is everything going okay? I just got stuff frozen for a second.
Well, I can't believe you're so inappropriate saying those things about the person I love, Jeff, on camera, no less. Oh.
Simple, quick, easy question.
Okay, quick, easy questions. Jeff went quiet. Did we break Jeff? Is Jeff broken?
Yep.
Yeah, Jeff froze. Jeff froze. Jeff, what are you doing? Jeff, come back to us. We apologize, folks. We'll be right back after these messages. Meaning?
Yeah, I'm working on it.
Yeah, she's working on it.
Oh wait, I'm back. I can hear you guys now and see you.
All right, Jeff, we've got you on camera again, so we can read your lips. Just tell us what the question is.
That was seamless, right? Like no one knew that I froze. We just went right to that video again as if we meant to, correct?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Nobody knows.
Question. If I'm not mistaken, didn't Janice run a women's gaming night at North of Exile at one point?
Janice, did you run a women's gaming night at one point at North of Exile? That's the question Jeff had.
Yes.
Yes, she did.
Okay, just because I think that's great to help bring in more people into the game. Obviously, Janice has a love of gaming in general, and I think it's going to really help bring more people in as we diversify in general everything within the game.
One of our local kids who comes and plays Pokemon every Saturday morning has learned how to play Genesis in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And now he comes in the mornings on Saturdays to play Pokemon, and then his mom brings him back in the evenings on Saturday nights to play Genesis. And his mom is a huge chess fan, and now she's got addicted to Genesis because obviously with the tactical, is this space safe for my character to move to or not? She's got drawn into it as well. So we're starting to get some more women gamers into our local store, which is awesome for Genesis specifically. I'm very excited about that because I really believe Genesis is a game that's fun for everyone. Like,
definitely.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think so as well. A couple more questions we can get through pretty quickly.
Sure.
A couple of them I can answer pretty quickly if you want. Just rattle them off, get them out of the way.
Sure. Yeah.
Opal, who's a member of the Cardboard Cohorts. Any thoughts on new mechanics? And I think I'm going to have to harken back to what you had said before, Jason, about actually, first of all, before I even get to that, thank you, Janice, for joining us on camera there. Thank you very much for that.
Jeff, thanks you for appearing on camera.
Oh, thanks.
Anything about new mechanics? I at this point, we're focused on Invasion. We want to get Invasion out with the mechanics Invasion introduces, and as part of that, and we'll be developing things as we need to going forward. But as Jason, I was going to say hinted at before, but blatantly said we need to get that out there. Sorry, Brad. Is this better now? I'm talking right into the microphone. Do I sound more like George Clooney like this when I talk this close to the mic?
Yes,
That's a question for what's the name there for Devin. Next question, which is also a quick one I can answer, is will Invasions have the new card backs? And the simple answer is yes.
Yep.
If they're not going to say HCG on them, they're going to be our new card backs. So
yeah,
Invasion will have that,
which I'm excited about.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited as well. So hopefully one of these videos on a Monday will spoil that at some point. You think, Jason?
Yeah, hopefully. I don't know what week it'll be, but it won't be too long, and we'll have more exciting stuff besides just artworks to reveal. We have a lot of fun stuff ahead.
You know what? I think they may have to tune in every Monday just to see when it gets revealed, because I don't even know if we'll know ahead of time. So you better be here every Monday, 7 o'clock Eastern time, just in case that card back gets revealed.
And if you haven't hit subscribe yet, you should probably hit like and subscribe there to make sure you don't ever miss a video by accident, because there's going to be a lot of exciting content revealed here on the Genesis YouTube channel.
Like, subscribe, hit the bell. And what am I missing? There's other things, isn't there? There's a whole list of things that every YouTuber goes through. And I've never said that on any YouTube before, or at least not seriously.
I don't know. I think it's just like and subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, like it. If you really loved it, and yes, I'm stealing from a famous Maple Leaf fan when I say that. If you really love this video, hit the subscribe button.
But they have to hit the bell because then it notifies them when we go live. So they have to hit the bell icon and say all notifications.
Oh, okay.
Yep. See, that one I know.
Good to know.
That one I learned.
Ring that bell, my friends. Ring that bell.
Ring the bell. That's what they say, right? Ring that bell. Yep. I got another question here, Jason.
Awesome. Okay.
Maybe you can answer this one.
Sure.
Do we plan to release and/or officially support other game formats in the future, other than just our traditional two-player battler?
And I get to answer this one?
Go right ahead, and then I will blatantly disregard everything you've said. No.
Okay. Sure. Yeah. In regards to releasing and officially supporting other formats in the future, oh heavens, yes. I can't wait to support some other formats in the future. As some of our Genesis fans who might be watching tonight are probably already aware, Joey, I was trying to remember his YouTube name, but Joey did a great job with some role-playing style gameplay that happened, with some sessions with the Basin's dungeon or whatever it was called. There's some really cool, unique formats and methods to play that you can only do with Genesis. But while we do expect to explore all these new formats in the future, it's going to have to wait a little bit till the time is right, because once again, our top priorities right now are just to make sure that the game continues to grow. We want to make sure that we're doing the best possible job we can with the little tweaks that we're going to do one time only. And we want to make sure that every set that comes out over the next few years is going to be as amazing as possible. I want our sets to be, regarded as some of the best. I want us to, why would you want to buy a company and not try and outdo what other people did before, right? It's a really high bar, but we're setting that high bar with the goal of elevating everything. So yeah, we're going to deal with formats in the future, all sorts of other cool things. Like Marcus, I see in the comments just mentioned, like the 4-player free-for-all is a lot of fun. We will be supporting things like that officially in the future, but right now we really want to focus all our energies on just tweaking the game, making it as perfect as we can, as fun and enjoyable as we can, and making sure we really nail these first few sets that come out. We want to have a great experience for people. And then later, once again, probably around the time organized play officially starts, that's probably going to be a good time for us to talk about officially recognizing other formats and exploring some of those really exciting gameplay opportunities.
Yep, and I agree. I think that's it. It's not a one-trick pony. It's not a stagnant thing. It is growing and developing, and there's a lot to be done with it.
Oh yeah, that's one of the things I'm most excited about.
Yeah, there's a lot of options there. There's things I think, Jason, you and me have spoken to before, probably over a year ago, when we were just fans of the game and just playing it, of ideas and options of how we could try different things with it, and almost wanted to pitch them ourselves, sort of thing, or try it out at your store or whatever. So I think there's a lot of stuff going forward, a lot of ideas that we can take off with once we've got the core back out there and the strong foundation, as you want to call it, and then we can build the skyscraper above it as tall as we want.
And I'll admit that I don't know every single independent card game out there. So there's probably some games out there that have already done some things that I haven't heard of. But with all the games I am fully aware of, I really believe that Genesis is uniquely positioned to offer some really fun, diverse, unique, different ways to play the game. Like usually with a collectible card game, with the big one, the example is play with a 60 card deck or play with a 100 card deck, and that's about the limits of what you can stretch it to. But with Genesis, there's all sorts of gameplay avenues we can explore besides just changing the composition of the deck, changing the arena, like there's just so much storytelling available that it's going to be really exciting in the future when we're running on all cylinders to explore some creative ways to have some fun and tell some stories with the game.
Hey, I'm still fighting for my specific format focused on just me called Jeffersus, where you only play with 5G cards. But
Jefferson, wow.
It hasn't gained any legs yet. I've tried, and yeah.
So they're 5G? Are you sure they're not like all fours or something like that? I don't know.
All 5G. That way it's easy to build a deck.
Yeah.
It's preferable if all 50 cards are the same card. That makes it a lot easier too.
And I assume they all have to have artwork that you drew, right?
No, I'm open on that. See, that's what I don't get. I'm open on that part.
So you can play Jeffersus with non-Jeff cards? Oh, this is fascinating.
100%. As long as they're 5G. Everything's 5G.
All right, cool.
A bit of an old joke there. Maybe someone in the chat will laugh at my 5G.
Oh, I'm sure someday there'll be a Jeffersus promo card out there. Someday down the line, there'll be a throwback joke, and a card will come out, and everyone will be like, Jeffersus? What is this?
Yeah. We'll make it one of those oversized cards so you can pin it up on your wall and throw darts at it. It'll be a lot easier to hit me in the face that way.
Okay. You say so. Okay.
Marcus is willing to try it, so I may have a convert.
There you go. Is there any other questions for us?
Yeah, do we have any other questions? We've exhausted all the ones that came in ahead of time. Anything new in the chat? Any questions anyone has? Any praise you just want to heap on top of Jason or Janice for no apparent reason? We're good with that too. We're open to these sorts of things.
He says Jason or Janice, but he means Jeff. Would you like to sing the praises of Jeff? This is your opportunity, world.
Hey, this is a small doorway I got to get out of this room. Don't make my head swell any more than it is.
Dude, you're the one who's designing Jeffersus. I think your head is a little bit bigger than I realized.
David said he'll try anything twice. You have to try it 5 times, David. It's 5G, so 5 times. Not sure if I missed. Oh, there is a question from Cardboard Cohorts.
Sure.
Any plans for marketing? Do we have any plans for marketing at this point?
Could he expand on that? I'm not sure what he's asking about. How do you
expand? Yes, we did cover that, Andrew. I just don't think you've gotten to it yet. But what might be a good idea for your marketing thing there is maybe you should put together like a 10 to 15 page marketing plan. Send it to us, and we'll see if it's what we want. And then we'll reiterate it next time. No, I'm just making a joke that we're going to make him do all our work for us.
Oh, but, yeah. No, let's not do that. Let's not make him do all our work.
No. I think you're talking about the questions you had before, Andrew, and we did answer those about the U.S. expansion, and which includes a bit of per store marketing in the sense of how to promote people there to promote the game, sort of thing. And that's something that we're working on down the line.
Hey, Jason, if you're asking what is this in the sense of what are we talking about tonight, we're talking about Genesis Battle of Champions, which is a Canadian-made tactical collectible card game. You play with a deck of cards similar to other ones, but the cool trick is with Genesis, you play them onto a 5x6 grid, and it gives you almost a chess vibe as your pieces maneuver around the table, wondering, is that space really safe, or is my poor little lava cub going to get destroyed? It makes for a really fun game.
Andrew, so essentially an ambassador program of sorts. We're not.
Oh, we totally talked about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not at that point of the actual details of it yet. Just that there obviously will be something to get this game spread out from there. Yeah.
Yeah, the short rehash of that was just there probably will be some sort of program or incentive because we definitely want to reward people who go out of their way to help spread the community, grow the community, maybe get into new stores. But that's something that we're going to tackle later on when organized play is ready to actually resume. That feels like that's the right time to worry about it. It's not really much point in us working on an ambassador program right now when we have so many other more time-sensitive things that we could be dealing with. And then later, when organized play resumes, that'll be the time that we want to reward people for helping organized play grow. So,
Andrew has one more question about the recycling program. The trick with the recycling program is it wasn't a magical program that was invented. Certain recycling areas do recycle packs from TCGs. So it's just a matter of if your area does it or if you can find an area that does,
yeah.
and you know someone in that area. So at this time, we don't have a recycling program set up, but there are areas in North America that do recycle it. You just have to be in one of those areas that can recycle your TCG packs.
Yeah.
We can give them another minute or two, Jason, if you want. We're just coming up on 8 o'clock. It'll be a nice bookend to the stream for another minute or two.
And I do have end credits. I worked hard on making end credits this week. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm impressed. I have not seen these end credits. So,
no, you have not. I worked hard on them just for you, buddy.
Written by Jason. Produced by Jason, directed by Jason. I'm expecting all that to just be his name over and over.
Well, now I wish I would have did that. Jeez.
Well, that's what I would have done, Jason, honestly.
That is what you would have done. Why didn't I do that?
So, question, can we run, I know you've done it twice already, can we run the artwork reel one more time before we say goodbye and jump into the credits?
I don't mind. Janice, would you mind hitting the, not that one, the artwork reveal again? Jeff, I don't think Jeff got to see it the second time we ran it.
I didn't get to see it. I was busy trying to get things running on my end.
All right, Jeff. Was it better the second time for you?
I mean, Dahlia's work speaks for itself. You can't say anything else about that. But that shattering, I know it sounds minor, but the way that sword is shattering in Philip's work is just phenomenal. I don't know, something about it just drives me crazy. How amazing it just, you get so much emotion or whatever you want to call it.
I can't wait to see it in X amount of weeks when it's actually formatted as a Genesis card. Because the art is only half of it. To see it with the stats and what it's going to do as a card, I'm so excited. Like, ridiculously excited to see that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And that leads right into Marcus's question there about spoilers. I'm assuming you're talking about official spoilers, like card facing with information and all that, as you'd see during a release schedule. We don't have a timeline for that yet, as we're still working through, I think Jason alluded to earlier, working through the back end of things, getting things set up for proper printing and shipping and everything.
Right.
Once all that's organized, we have a timeline of that. We'll start our timeline of spoilers to be able to actually get them out there to get people as interested as they can be, if they're not interested already, which I am right now.
Yeah, it won't take forever. We'll eventually get to spoilers. Once we have a hard, firm date on release, once you know pretty firmly when things are going to arrive from overseas, then we, like Jeff says, we can start planning, doing the math on this would be the perfect day to start doing spoilers. So.
Yeah, exactly. And we can start whetting your appetite with that over the course of time until that comes out. Yeah. Small question here from David. He's asking about the playing field. He thought we mentioned earlier about changing the playing field. I don't think we meant changing the size of the playing field. I think we just meant how it would change for different formats, like the role-playing style one for Bazin's House of Horrors, like it would change with alterations on it. I don't think we actually want to change the actual grid layout of how it is, if I'm not mistaken. The grid is set up strongly, I think.
Changing the grid itself wasn't what I meant, but like in some of the role-playing style campaigns, there are sometimes dead squares where they're filled with walls or things like that. So that's a fun thing we can do. I know that people experimented a little bit with larger play fields, having two mats together. Historically, from what I've heard from other people who play tested that, was the downside ones being there's so much space to run that sometimes it's hard to finish a game because you can literally just run laps around. But I think if we were going to explore some story-based special scenarios where there was more than one playmat involved, the trick to that is just you have to have a lot of walls or a lot of pitfalls or obstacles in it to like divide it into more traditional pathways as opposed to a wide open mat with 2 or 3 squares blocked. So there's definitely lots of fun gameplay options to explore in the future, but I don't think we'll ever make a different size of mat, at least not right now. I don't see that happening. Just maybe employing more than one mat in the right circumstance. Is that about right?
Multiplayer mats and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
think people have used that before. I think a 6-player pack battle we use 2 mats for, and it just works better for that. It's little things like that, more modifying as you play it, not an actual piece of what are those called? It's not foam. What are they made out of? Neoprene. Not an actual piece of neoprene that's different.
Right. Yeah.
And I think that might cover everything. People had a chance to ask. We got a couple last-minute questions, which is great. If we missed any questions, please drop us a line somehow. We got one more question here from Brad.
I think it's more of a comment.
Oh, it is? Sorry, something popped up on my screen right in front of it. Also, from a design point, having a larger arena makes meteorite and other arena-wide abilities kind of overpowered. This is true, Brad. You're right.
Yep.
Things like that take up. You got someone like Kuhn too, like Jason was alluding to. Kuhn can just keep running away, and then you have an unending game, right? Always has that one extra dash move to get ahead of everyone. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
But if anyone has any other questions, by all means, please drop them in the common question area in the Discord for now. You can send them to us on Facebook, or preferably even, or not preferably, but please be here next Monday and ask us live, because when we have to stand on our head, as you can see, we say a lot of things that we probably shouldn't say.
Yes, bonus info for you. Bonus info.
Yep. Definitely. Without further ado, Jason, would you like to run the credits to just talk about you and how great you are at this point?
Well, I think before we hit the credits, we have to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. It's been a real pleasure just to chat with everybody. I'm really, truly enjoying this. I'm loving getting questions from fans of the game. I'm loving the two-way communication. It's awesome. And I feel really, really optimistic and excited about the community that we're building here. So I love it. I appreciate everyone who came out here tonight. On behalf of my co-host, Jeffrey Pacino, on behalf of my very talented and amazing spouse, Janice Freeman, my name's Jason. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight for lots of fun as we talked beyond the Edge of Exile. Take care. Goodbye, everyone.
See you next week.